The sky failed. July 1st, 2002, 11:35 p.m. 2 aircraft, 71 souls, 36,000 feet above the German-Swiss border. In exactly 90 seconds, the night sky over Lake Constance will become a graveyard. 2 pilots, 2 planes on a collision course, 1 air traffic controller, and a choice that will haunt aviation forever. This is the story of Bashkirian Airlines Flight 2937 and DHL Flight 611, a tragedy that should never have happened, and the devastating question that still echoes today. Who do you obey when the machine and the human tell you opposite things? Because on that night, above the sleeping towns of Europe, that impossible choice killed everyone. To understand how 71 people died in one of aviation's most preventable disasters, we need to understand what happened in the 15 minutes before impact. Because this wasn't a story of mechanical failure. This was a story of a system breaking down, piece by piece, until catastrophe became inevitable. Flight 2937 departs Moscow at 9:56 p.m. local time. It's a chartered Tupolev Tu-154, a Russian workhorse carrying mostly children. 45 kids aged 4 to 15, traveling to Spain for a UNESCO-sponsored vacation. They're accompanied by parents and teachers, excited for a week on the Mediterranean coast. The cockpit crew is experienced. Captain Alexander Gross has over 12,000 flight hours. They're relaxed, professional, routine. Meanwhile, 300 miles away, DHL Flight 611, a Boeing 757 cargo jet, lifts off from Bergamo, Italy, headed for Brussels. 2 pilots, Captain Paul Phillips and First Officer Brant Campioni. Experienced crew, standard freight run. They've done this route dozens of times. Both aircraft are flying through Zurich's airspace, managed by SkyGuide, Switzerland's air navigation service. Tonight, that airspace is controlled by one man. His name is Peter Niels, and Peter Nielsen is alone. Here's what you need to know. Normally, 2 controllers work the overnight shift at Zurich. One handles high-altitude traffic, the radar position. The other manages coordination with other air traffic centers, the planning position. But tonight, Nielsen's colleague has been sent on a break. Company policy says maintenance can happen during quiet hours. So the phone lines connecting Zurich to neighboring airspace, they're being serviced, offline. The backup phone system, also down. Nielsen is monitoring 2 workstations simultaneously, toggling between screens, managing multiple aircraft alone. And at 11:30 p.m., his workload is about to explode. Because 2 planes, Flight 2937 descending westbound and Flight 611 climbing eastbound, are converging on the exact same point in the sky. 11:32 p.m. Both aircraft are cruising at 36,000 feet. They're 50 miles apart. Inside the cockpits, neither crew has any idea the other exists. But someone does notice. TCAS, the Traffic Collision Avoidance System. It's an automated safety system installed in both planes, designed specifically for moments like this. Using transponder signals, TCAS detects nearby aircraft and calculates collision risk. When 2 planes get too close, TCAS gives direct commands to the pilots: climb or descend. The system is coordinated. One plane climbs, the other descends, guaranteed separation. TCAS is the last line of defense, and it's about to activate. But back in Zurich, Peter Nielsen is handling a crisis. An Airbus has entered his airspace without clearance, a coordination failure because the phone lines are down. Nielsen is trying to resolve it manually, his attention split between screens. He glances at his radar. Flight 2937 and Flight 611 are 40 miles apart. Still safe. 11:34 p.m. Nielsen looks again. 30 miles. He realizes what's happening. In the cockpit of Flight 2937, Captain Gross sees it on his display too. Another aircraft, Flight 611, same altitude, closing fast. His hand hovers near the controls, and then it happens. TCAS activates. In Flight 2937's cockpit, the automated voice commands firmly, "Descend, descend." Captain Gross immediately begins pushing the yoke forward, dropping altitude. Simultaneously, in Flight 611's cockpit, "Climb, climb." Captain Phillips pulls back, gaining altitude. The system is working perfectly. The planes are separating, but Peter Nielsen doesn't know TCAS has activated. He's still focused on his radar screen, watching two blips merge closer. He keys his microphone.
Bashkirian 2937, descend flight level 350, expedite descent.
He just told Flight 2937 to descend, but TCAS already told them to descend. Nielsen thinks he's preventing a collision. He doesn't realize he's causing one, because Flight 611, following TCAS, is descending too. In Flight 2937's cockpit, Captain Gross is now receiving contradictory instructions. TCAS, the automated system, says descend. The air traffic controller, a human authority, says descend. Both are saying the same thing. He continues down, but Nielsen looks at his screen again. They're still converging. Panicked, he keys the mic again. Bashkirian 2937, descend. Descend now! And here is where the tragedy locks into place. Captain Gross is a Russian-trained pilot. In Russian aviation culture, the air traffic controller is the ultimate authority. You follow their commands without question. He sees the conflict. TCAS says descend. Nielsen says descend. Even more urgently, Gross makes a decision. He descends faster. Meanwhile, DHL Flight 611 is still following TCAS, climbing away, except Nielsen doesn't know this. He's never told them to do anything else. 11:35 p.m. and 32 seconds. Two aircraft, 16 miles apart, both descending directly toward each other. 11:35 p.m. and 58 seconds, 2 miles apart. Both crews see each other's lights through the windscreen now. 11:36 p.m. above the German town of Überlingen at exactly 34,890 feet. Flight 2937 and Flight 611 collide in midair. The vertical stabilizer of the DHL Boeing slices through the fuselage of the Tupolev. Both aircraft disintegrate. 71 people fall from the sky. Wreckage scattered across 60 square miles of farmland and forest. 45 children, 12 crew members, 14 adults, 2 DHL pilots, all gone. The investigation begins immediately. German and Swiss authorities comb through flight recorders, radar data, cockpit voice recordings. And what they find is damning. The collision was preventable at multiple levels. Skyguide's maintenance should never have disabled both phone systems simultaneously. Nielsen should never have been working alone. The backup safety systems all failed. But the most haunting finding? If both pilots had simply followed TCAS and ignored the air traffic controller, they would have lived. TCAS was right. The human was wrong. International aviation law is now crystal clear. If TCAS and ATC give conflicting instructions, always follow TCAS. Always. This rule was written in the blood of Flight 2937 and Flight 611. But here's what still haunts investigators. Captain Gross wasn't reckless. He was following his training. In Russian aviation doctrine at the time, controllers were supreme. He trusted the human, and that trust killed him. Peter Nielsen, the controller, was destroyed by what happened. He was interrogated, blamed publicly, received death threats. SkyGuide's systemic failures were downplayed. Nielsen became the scapegoat. 2 years later, in February 2004, a Russian man named Vitaly Kaloyev traveled to Nielsen's home in Switzerland. Kaloyev had lost his wife and 2 children on Flight 2937. He rang Nielsen's doorbell, and when Nielsen answered, Kaloyev stabbed him to death. Kaloyev was convicted of murder, but in Russia, many viewed him as a tragic figure seeking justice. He served less than 3 years. Upon release, he was given a government job. The grief, the blame, the rage, it didn't end with the collision. It rippled outward, destroying even more lives. So what do we take from this? 71 people died, not because of a single mistake, but because a system failed at every level. Technology failed. Human oversight failed. Training failed. Communication failed. But there's a deeper question here, one that goes beyond aviation. When do we trust machines? When do we trust humans? In 2002, the answer seemed obvious. Trust the human. Controllers had authority because they had judgment, experience, the big picture. But TCAS had something else. Perfect information, instant calculation, zero hesitation. The machine saw what the human couldn't. Today, we live in a world where algorithms guide our lives, our cars, our medicine, our infrastructure. We still struggle with that same question. When the GPS and your instinct disagree, which do you follow? When the AI and the expert disagree, who's right? The tragedy of Flight 2937 and Flight 611 teaches us this. Systems only work when every part functions. When communication breaks down, when protocols are ignored, when humans are overburdened, disaster doesn't need a villain. It just needs cracks in the armor. If you're watching this, I want you to remember something. These weren't just numbers. 71 lives, children excited for vacation, pilots just doing their jobs, parents holding their kids' hands. They deserve to land safely. Aviation is safer today because of what happened that night. TCAS rules are now drilled into every pilot on Earth. Controllers work in pairs. Systems have redundancies. But we can't forget, because the moment we forget, the moment we cut corners, the moment we say it won't happen to us, history repeats. 71 people fell from the sky over Überlingen. This is their story, and we owe it to them to never let it happen again. Goodbye, we will come back with next video soon.